What is up, funky people? It is your host, as always. What's up, Riv? Back at you with the 14th episode of the podcast. That's right, we made it to number 14. Wowie. Honestly, this goes to show how chaotic and confuzzled things have been lately. But I went to record this podcast and I thought it was episode 13. But I was just going through editing some old clips or older podcasts, finally getting those ones published onto YouTube, and realized that, yeah, I had the fucking episode 13 just collecting dust in its file, ready to go. So here we are with episode number 14. I'm glad you guys could tune in today. I'll be honest, I felt like I had a lot more steam like 15, 20 minutes ago, but you know how life can be sometimes. Sometimes you just lose all effort and momentum to do the things that you want to do, and that kind of sucks. I think it's called it's this like exotic word. It's called like depression, I think, but it makes you feel like you don't want to do anything ever, and you feel real low. But we're trying though. We're going through. We're continuing forward. So let's see. We got the piece ready for us today for the beginning of the bit bong rip. It's always something nice to do with you guys. I enjoy that. That's probably my favorite part of the podcast, just because it's the only thing. I don't know. That's, I guess, really like, it's consistent, but it's like different. Like every time I try to bring like a new strain to you guys and shit like that, and it's fun to do. I like it. It's enjoyable. This week we're using a different piece. We have the green Gandalf long pipe that we're going to be using. I've been using this for a couple weeks just because, I don't know, I think the last episode or the episode before that I was using, no, yeah, that's right. So 2 episodes ago I was using the Puffco Budsy, and it's okay. It's not bad. But then today last episode I used the Chillum, and the Chillum's good. It's always classic, simple. You can't really fuck it up. But this week we went with the Gandalf green pipe because, I don't know, it's fairly easy to clean, unlike the Budsy, but you get like a bigger hit than you would out of a Chillum, and you can actually like kind of enjoy the flavor a little more. It's like a super wide, pretty shallow bowl, so that's kind of nice because I'm not just like, I feel like the issue I have with my Chillum is the first hit is always like super tasty, super clean, but every hit after that's just kind of like garbage. It's just caca. But so yeah, so we got the Gandalf piece. It's been a minute since I've watched Lord of the Rings. Speaking of Gandalf, like, I think they have all 3 Lord of the Rings and all 3 of the Hobbit movies on HBO Max right now. So yeah, if you're trying to have a Lord of the Rings special, that's where you want to go for it. And I know everybody's got their opinions about the Hobbit movies and whatever. I liked them, honestly. People are upset because they're like, it goes beyond the source material. And it's like, sure. I mean, to play devil's advocate, at least they just like added some like contextual things to the story. They added some things that weren't brought up that could maybe have squeezed into that bit of narration that they didn't really expand on, rather than them just taking the story and just completely changing it and making a mockery of it. And granted, again, it's been a minute. I think I've read the Hobbit book maybe like 1 time. So take that comment of mine with a grain of salt. I don't exactly remember what the huge inconsistencies are between the movies and the books. Either way, TLDR, I enjoyed the movies. They're fantasy movies about fucking elves and hobbits and dragons. I was there for the movie. Sure, it might be way different than the book, but that's why the book is still around too. That's the beautiful thing. It's not like they remade the movies and then they like burned the book so you could never like have the comparison of medium again. Like, the books are still there if you want to read them. It's not taken away from that. But yeah, long way to circle back around on that. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, the Tolkien movies, are on HBO Max. So if you're about that fantasy life, check them out, man. So anyway, nonetheless, let's get back into the beginning of the bit bong rip. It's kind of ironic that this all started with a bong, and we've used like pretty much anything except a bong for a couple podcast episodes now. But yeah, today's strain is Sunday Driver, right? Yep, Sunday Driver. Super good strain. It's I think heavier on the indica side. Definitely has like a strawberry, like fruity, like yogurty kind of smell. It smells good. It smells just like like a fruit parfait, like a yogurt parfait or some shit like you get from the 7-Eleven or McDonald's. I fuck with it. I usually don't like the fruity strains too much, but I don't know. I feel like there's also like the fruity strains, you're going to get pretty good off of them. You're going to get pretty settled, pretty set. You might get the munchies. I've noticed that too. Whenever I have like a floral or like a fruity, super smelling strain, I always want to eat like a sumbitch afterwards. That's why you got to keep good, healthy snacks in the house. See, you got to counteract every chance you get. So anyway, let me just pull this up real quick. We put a marker. Beautiful. Just talking to myself for editing the podcast. So yeah, beginning of the bit, bong rip. We got some Sunday Driver and the green Gandalf pipe. Cheers, y'all. Let's smoke. That was a pretty nice one. I feel like we got a little bit of like ASMR off of that, because the weed in the bowl sounds like a crackling fire. It's all smoking some weed next to the fireplace in a wintry day in Hobbiton. I fuck with it. Sorry, my phone just vibrated and I have it on the counter, so the microphone probably picked that up very clearly. But yeah, I like that strain. It doesn't taste as fruity and florally as it smells, but I'm still here for it, man. I like it. I'll be honest, y'all. I didn't really come into this with anything like prepared to talk about for the podcast. Shocking. Like, I know usually I can just kind of like ramble on and just kind of talk about whatever, but I don't know, man. I feel very directionless with today's episode. That kind of sucks. I feel like that kind of sucks, man, because I always want to come in like with at least some sort of direction. Even if I'm going to ramble, I want to ramble in some general area, but I don't know. I really don't know what to talk about. I mean, there's a new episode of Euphoria that came out. Season finale of Euphoria. Did y'all catch that shit? That was wild. I feel like, I don't know, it was a pretty good episode. Like, it definitely, like, gave me a lot of satisfaction for some of the things that I wanted to happen this season, but I definitely feel like they left a lot of, like, open ends that I was not happy with. Like, for instance, like, okay, we got to see Lexi's play. The last 2 episodes of the season are all about Lexi's play. We finally get to see that go down. She's been talking about that and setting that up the entire season up to this point. So it's cool to finally see it happen. And in the last episode, the second to last episode of the season, just shout out to my boy Ethan, Like, I'm surprised his back doesn't hurt after carrying the entire fucking play like that. But he did so good. I love it. He's absolutely the best part of the play episodes, or like the play subplot in Euphoria, just because he played everybody from Lexi and Cassie's mom to fucking Nate Jacobs' doppelganger character. Like, he's hilarious. He did really good at it. But in the last episode, season finale, we got some satisfaction with Lexi's play and all that. Like I said, we got some satisfaction with Cassie. I don't know. I got a little bit of satisfaction with it. We got to see Cassie get slapped up by Maddie, and we got to see Maddie smack her head against the wall. But, like, I don't know, for all the shit that Cassie's been doing this season, not just to Maddie, but like the way she's been treating her sister and her mom, and just like, I don't know, like she needed more than a slap and a push into a wall. Let's just say, like, Cassie really bothered me this season. Right after the first episode, her actions didn't sit well with me. I didn't like it. There was already like a Team Cassie kind of shit forming on social media and stuff like that, but I wasn't about it, because in that first episode of season 2, Cassie broke the most important rule. And I don't care if you guys think, like, if you guys follow guy code or girl code, this is just human code in general. You don't fuck your best friend's ex. It doesn't matter if they're together or not. Like, she tries to claim throughout this entire season that she tries to emphasize that, well, Maddie and Nate weren't together when she and Nate hooked up, so there's nothing morally wrong with the situation. But it's like, dog, It doesn't matter if they just broke up or if they broke up a year ago. I feel like personally, it's just within good human code to, not fuck your best friend's ex. If you consider somebody your best friend, then like, why would you you shouldn't even consider their past significant others as like just options of people, like that's not on your radar, man. That was on your friend's radar. And as like a good friend, you should avoid that shit. And this whole season, Cassie just tried to play it off like, well, just because Maddie and Nate weren't together when she hooked up with him, then that suddenly makes it okay. But Maddie even brings something up in the last episode of the season that I didn't even really put into consideration the whole season too. She So it's when Cassie storms up on stage. She's making a big old scene, making Lexi feel like shit, letting the whole school know what kind of villain she really is, regardless of if she's up to play the quote-unquote villain role. She's still a sneaky, conniving person for what she's done. And everybody disapproves of her actions. But Maddie mentions from the audience that, like, yeah, Cassie and Nate were still fucking around when Maddie and Nate were talking about potentially getting back together. And see, I totally forgot that sub point in the series because, like, yeah, Cassie's trying to play it off like, oh, well, she's not a bad person because she didn't hook up with Nate when he was still together with Maddie. But, like, they were in talks of getting back together. Like, they were, to Maddie's belief, on the mend with their relationship and trying to make it work again. But the entire time, her best friend is lying to her about what's going on. And like, yeah, Nate's a piece of shit. I feel like we expect that kind of like shady kind of attitude from him. But to sit here and say that you call someone your best friend and to like pull some shit like that behind their back, that's some fucked up shit. It's fucked up, and I got no sympathy for what happened to Cassie this season. But I feel like she deserved more. And like, I don't know. Like, I mean that in the sense of like Maddie whooping her ass. I don't mean that like, we know Nate is a bad person. He's a piece of shit. He's abusive like his father is. He's just more so in a physical manner. Well, I don't know. Like, I can't even say he's more so because his dad is physically aggressive just in like a sexual sense. I don't know. If you just listen to this podcast, if you listen to what I'm saying right now without any of the context, it sounds wild as fucking fuck what I'm talking about. And even with context, it sounds pretty damn crazy still. But yeah, I don't know. Nate is a physically violent person in the show. And I'm not trying to say Cassie deserves more getting her ass beat by like him and shit. Like, because he's a fucked up person. Like, he's obviously always going to be able to like push the limit of like hurting people. And that really sucks. But what I mean is Maddie should have kicked Cassie's ass even more. But instead, Sam Levinson decided to give us 4 fucking minutes of a song by Elliot's character. I don't even remember that actor that plays him, but like, dog, it was so damn long. And like, this is a question I've had since I was a kid, but like, why is it that whenever people play an acoustic guitar by themselves, like they perform a song for you that they just wrote or whatever, it always seems to last way too fucking long. They could be playing a song on their acoustic guitar for like 2 minutes, and those will be the longest 2 minutes of your goddamn life. Like, it's just the worst, man. And I really feel like that's what happened in this scene with Elliot. Like, I don't know, I feel like you could even see it in Rue's face where she's just kind of like, oh, this is nice, but like, let's move on, like I got like other shit to resolve in this season before the episode's over, before we have to wait potentially another 3 goddamn years for a new season. And like, I don't know, I think the thing that bothered me the most about Elliot's song too is the fact that at the end of the 4 minutes, he stops playing and he's like, oh, it's still a work in progress. And it's like, dog, you have like 5 fucking like verses in this song and like 2 breakdowns. Like, what else is there to work on? Like, it's done. You've overdone it at this point. The song is like, you're beating a dead horse at this point. The song is done. Just, I really hate to dog on him because like, I'm not even dogging on his talent. Elliot is a very talented singer. He's a great guitar player. You can tell he's very talented. And same with Labyrinth and Zendaya. Like, Labyrinth and Zendaya, they were the ones that wrote the song. And even in the behind the scenes episodes, you could see Labyrinth was like really proud of this song and like what it put together. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, lyrically, yes, it was a very strong song, but Did we really need to dedicate 4 whole fucking minutes to the entire song? He could have just done like 2 verses, part of a breakdown, and been like, oh, it's still a work in progress. Like, that would have made more sense than him playing an entire, like, fully finished song and being like, oh, it's still a work in progress. Like, it just, it bothered me. I didn't like that. I didn't like that way more than I shouldn't have liked that. Like, I feel like it's one thing to be irritated with it, but like, I feel like I'm stuck on it. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, you fuckers, man. Because, I don't know. It just makes me think they had to fill some more time because Sam Levinson cut a bunch of Cat's roles from this season. It's so fucking stupid. I just hate the whole power hungry. If you disagree with where your character's going, I'll just cut your lines type bullshit that he's playing. Because, like, Barbie Ferreira got like 2 or 3 lines this whole fucking season, and they all sucked. She was either like, I don't know, she was just like, I don't know, her character plotline sucked this season, man. She was like gaslighting Ethan into thinking he's like a bad person and shit, and like lying and to try to get him to break up with her, and just like being really inconsiderate of people, or not even just people, him specifically, and just like, I don't blame her for being upset where her character direction was going this season, because yeah, it was garbage, man. It was not good. Let me get some water real quick because I'm getting all rap in the voice. Ooh, that sounded like it was out of a video game. But yeah, what was I saying? That's right. We were ranting about Euphoria. Another character that I'm kind of like raising an eyebrow at them cutting was fucking BB. And I understand the reasoning behind it. I understand the reasoning behind it. You know, she says some shit on Twitter and on social media and stuff like that was just like, it was pretty racist. You know, she's just using the N-word and stuff like that, and she's of Caucasian descendants. And so, you know, that shit's, don't do it. Don't do that. Like, just don't do that. I don't want to hear your fucking devil's advocate. Well, what about, no, just don't say that shit. You're not fucking losing in life by not being able to say that shit. Like, just don't say it. Don't say it. Like, fuck. It's not that hard, people. Don't say that shit. Because look, if you say some stupid shit like that as somebody of Caucasian descendants, then, like, look, you could get a spot on a fucking TV show. And when people find out about those ugly ass old tweets, then they cut your ass from that show. And here you are looking silly because you decided to fucking say some stupid shit on social media. Way to go. Bazing. You did it. Because, like, I don't know, she wasn't the most interesting character. I feel like she was more of a caricature, if anything. But, like, I was curious to see where BB's storyline was going to go this season. I remember talking to Brianna about that. Brianna and I were talking about, like, yeah, I'm curious to see more of that character. Like, they just kind of made them, like, a background, like, witty comment kind of person every now and then. And it's a shame. It's a shame, but whatever, man. I guess that's what happens. It's like I said, man, that's what happens. You want to say some stupid shit on social media, being of certain, like, skin color, then, well, like, I don't know what to say to that, man, you know? Even when I was rapping and shit like that, like, I wouldn't say that shit. Like, I hate to say it like that. Even when I was rapping, like, it's like, oh my God. But just like when I was making music, more so, it just never felt like there was anything to gain musically by using that word as a person of the background that I have. So it's just like, it ain't that hard. What the fuck? Okay. My neighbors are outside moving like a garbage can or some shit right now. I don't know. We don't even have like garbage cans in the complex, so I hear them moving something plastic on wheels out there, but now I'm like concerned. Either way, let's take a hit of this weird real quick. Y'all remember that weird from fucking Workaholics? Or is that just like a niche millennial stoner show that dudes that do like Workaholics makes me laugh because yes, it is. Like, that's a rhetorical question. I feel like Workaholics is like a niche stoner comedy for millennial dudes that were born between 91 and 95, maybe 96, but like specifically dudes. I don't remember, like, I don't know. I don't remember a lot of girls growing up or feminine energies growing up that watched Workaholics. It was always like I said, dudes that were like 2 or 3 years older or younger than me watching that shit too. It just makes me laugh because I fucking love Workaholics, and I think it's a solid ass show. It was a solid ass show. I'm glad it got an ending. Like, they got a series finale on that shit. They got to play that out the way they wanted. Like, that was a solid fucking show. But it just makes me laugh because I'll try to talk about it now. Like, I talk about it at work, and it makes me sound like I'm crazy because, like, some people will be like, oh yeah, I kind of like I remember seeing ads for that show. But that's like where their knowledge of the show just ended. I'm like, damn, so y'all never watched it? Like, oh man, this is wild to me. I feel like it's very dating. Like, it dates me when I use a reference from Workaholics. Like, but anyway, let's smoke some weird in the name of Workaholics. Cheers, folks. Got the bowl. Sunday driver. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I like smoking it out of the Gandalf pipe. Makes me feel like Gandalf. Like, that is one thing. People can shit talk the Hobbit trilogy all they want, but that's one thing I took away from it, is I learned from Bilbo how to smoke out of a fucking long pipe like this and how to keep that cherry going without needing a lighter. So shout out to Bilbo Baggins. Shout out, what's his name, Ian Holmes? Yeah, because even right now, this shit's still cherried. I'm not even trying, but we just going with it. We just puffing and puffing. Thanks, Bilbo. Okay. Let me put that down. But yeah, speaking of Workaholics, fuck, I want to say the actor Anders Holm. What's his real name? Anders Holm. He's fuck. I want to say he's in some like documentary or some like drama series on like HBO Max coming out. But speaking of HBO Max and Workaholics, Adam Devine, I think that's his name. I know they like slightly changed their names up from the show so I always get their like fictional last name confused with their real last name because they're pretty spot on. Because I think in the show it's Adam DeMamp, but in real life his name is Adam Devine. You know, it's like Anders too. Anders in the show it's Anders Holmvik, but in real life his name is Anders Holm. So it's, you know, like little stuff like that. I think it was clever because, you know, it's based on them. But fuck, what is it? Adam Devine, he's on some show. It's called like The Righteous Gemstones on HBO Max. I've only watched like a couple episodes of it, but it looks pretty fucking hilarious. It's John Goodman, Danny McBride, Adam Devine. It's a great cast. So I'm gonna definitely have to check that out more. Let's tune in. I'll tune in with you guys next time. I'll maybe try to like binge some episodes. We'll see how we working with that, how we liking that show so far. Because I think the second season's wrapping up right now too. I know Euphoria just did, and I know a lot of shows are like, it's springtime. A lot of these winter programs are like scooching out of the way, so like the spring and summer programming can kick in. But yeah, we'll watch some Righteous Gemstones. We'll get back to you. I love you guys about that. You know, I like telling you about things that we watch, things that we like or we might like, things that we don't like. That's the whole point of a podcast. Isn't that pretty much like all content creation is? It's just people being like, I like this, I don't like this, but people being like, I mean, I've heard this opinion before, but they got like an interesting, fun personality. So I hope I can be that interesting, fun personality for y'all, even if I am a little deadpan and rambly. That's why we do it. That's why we love it, though. You know, that's part of life, baby. But it's getting late, y'all, and I just mean that it's 8:20 right now. And it's not like late, like it's not past my bedtime. That's 9:30. No, but I gotta go pick up the lovely, sweet, amazing Braun at work here in a little bit. So I can get this podcast all saved, edited, and published before I go pick her up. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it an evening. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning into the podcast. Like I said, as always and forevermore, it's your host, your boy, What's Up, Riv? Closing out with the 14th episode. That's right. Closing out with the 14th episode of the Right from the River podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in for my rambling, for my introspects perspective on Euphoria, on Workaholics, and the demographic that they appeal to. And I feel like there's one like Gandalf. That's right, the Lord of the Rings shit. But yeah, tuning out for the day. Love you guys. Episode 14. Y'all be safe until next time. Peace.